Here I am at a boiler that's getting an F10 fault. On occasion it's locking out. It's a flame fault. So let's find out what's going on. Worst part is right now it's working. So we'll see what's happening with this thing. This is a Munchkin boiler, pretty much. That's all this is. There's not a lot of these Pinnacles out. This is the first one of these style boilers I ever ran into. And well, I didn't know at the time. When I ran into was this fan right here died. So I didn't know any better. I tried to remove it in place. So once you get the gas off, then you have 4 hex screws right here, 1, 2, and on the bottom. Not easy to do in place. I've since then learned you pull the whole thing out, then you can work on it, and it's so much easier than trying to do it in place. So the F10 is a flame failure fault. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by checking the flame current. I mean, it sounds like I got a little air swirling around up there. But first things first is the flame current. I want to eliminate that being a problem. Here's my flame sensor right here. Looks like I got a pretty decent burn inside. So I switch back and forth. I have the fluke set up and I have this set up. And on this, my alligator clips. But needle probes are always a necessity. Only difference between this and the other one is I don't have the pinch probes, which will pinch through the wire. What I actually think I like about the fluke ones is I can use my full wires and just tap off. And I'm wondering if this is shortening. Ooh, I can. And that means I would have to keep, I don't think it's a big deal, but I'd have to keep this right here, where this way I can move it further back and still read current. So let me do that. Still getting used to these field piece probes. And I believe there's been problems in the past with this because I see a spare on top. So let me just put this here so I'm not kicking it or anything like that. Because once I disconnect this, it's going to go off on a flame problem. Alright, now there's no great place to put this. Put it there. We're still burning. Oop, in the wrong spot. I'm surprised we haven't dropped out. We got about 6. I'm surprised we didn't drop out though. When I pulled, the ground is still connected, so maybe that was sending a signal back. Burns good. Tube looks a little dirty. But the burn inside is pretty good. You see somebody put the sensor burner gasket replaced in 2017. 6 is not bad for flame current on this thing. But the F10, but the only problem I'm having is the manual for this thing. I wish it was here, because when I go into my manual, in this control, it should show me, it says D7 for this boiler. So D7 right here, ionized current flame signal. (26.3). Seems very strange for a flame signal. I'm not sure what exactly it's really reading, so. But what it says is if it's, so if we go to faults for, is that it? F10, which is my lockout. Loss of flame signal. The boiler will light 4 times before the controller goes into a lockout. Press the gas pressure to the valve. Ensure that the flame is stable. Check to see if green light is on. If the green light doesn't come on, it goes off. Check flame signal. If the signal reads less than 1 microamp, clean the flame sensor. If the sensor continues to read low, replace it. Sensor appears to be good. So it just keeps running and running, which is a good thing. This is a little loose, it looks like. I wonder if that fell off or it wiggles a little loose. And we're still burning. We have a pressure switch in the back. So then we have the pressure switch. This is the, I believe this one is the pressure switch. And that one is the temperature. That's the temperature. On the Munchkins, on the wires, at least they tell you what the wires are, but that's gonna look like a temperature switch. When you do a maintenance, you gotta pull this off. I mean, there is one way to know. I could pull it off, but let's get back into the control. 197. But no heat and no hot water. Second floor, third floor doesn't need. That vent was stuck. Hopefully I didn't just create a leaker, but you heard it was full of air. So I'm going to dry. But maybe you can kick that little bubble I'm hearing. What I feel they should have done was up there and there put air vents. That's the highest points. Just about. We're off. For what reason? If we get an F09, that's a flame failure. Did we satisfy? Hot water is off. Third is off. The second floor is still on. We didn't satisfy, but we could have hit temperature. Cooling off. We should come back on then. Now what could happen is if this drain backs up, say the water's not going down, then all of a sudden the water comes high enough, it'll interfere with the flame signal. Thinking I might have to open this thing up just because I'm not finding anything, just to make sure everything's okay in there. I mean, this looks a little loose, but if it was a problem, I think it would cause problems all the time, not just random occasionally. It's some kind of water leak or something in here, moisture. This is all rusted. The exhaust centrifugal kit's right out the window there. 171. We should be coming back on. Any second. I don't think we satisfied. There we go. Boiler's coming back. Cooled off. 166. Hopefully now we start getting issues. Because I need this thing to fail. And we're lit. And we're dropping low. Before we were around 6, right now we're 4. I'm wondering because it was locked out and then it came back on, so it was off for at least an hour before it came on when I got here. Then it's been working ever since I brought my tools in. For whatever reason, the signal was pretty low at first. We're at 5 now. Temperature 188. Bring this closer to me. So I can see the temperature of the boiler. Temperature of the boiler. Flame signal. Too bad they didn't leave enough of a ledge for me to put 6. So we got a lot of things going on right here. And it was a little interesting how it was up and down when it first came back on. It was kind of, it dropped down to 2, but never cut out. Let me just see. Less than 1. And the whole time it runs, it condenses. As it condenses, it builds water. Needs to drain. I'll let it run for a couple minutes. If it does anything interesting, I'll bring this back on. So we just shut off on temperature. What I'm going to do is force some cool water back. So by forcing cold water back, we should want to fire sooner. So in case it is a slow drain, we won't give it as much time. Came on. Down to 3. Or let me close that zone. I need the cold water. Okay, I gotta say I'm bored. I think I'm gonna open this thing up just out of principle and see. Oh my goodness, the union's all the way back there. I should have put it here. Like if the union's over here somewhere, I can crack the union and take this and spin it up. Because when I take this off, this is in my way still. Unless I could kind of move it. Which is why the union somewhere over here is always good. You crack it and you can move it out of your way. I mean, here we got 7 on our flame current still. So That's really high on that side. This is what my flame current part. Alright, so out of boredom, I'm not gonna sit here forever. I'm gonna open this thing up. Problem with opening it up is it's gonna be very hot. Thinking the fastest way to put it off and on. Off, on, to reset it. This way, if it is full of water, this way I'm not waiting for it to cool off or anything, it's just coming right back on. It's gonna run the fan for a second. Down and up. No. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flood in the boiler with cold water. But if it doesn't do it, I'm gonna take this apart. I don't want to play with this anymore. I want to see if I can find results. Four. Alright, it's not doing it, doesn't want to fail. I gotta cool the boiler off. Munchkin F09 would be the flame failure. It's a negative pressure gas valve. No flame detected. So loss of flame signal, so while it's running, it drops the flame. And the cold water back, so. Only way to cool this heat exchanger is bringing cold water back. This whole thing's gonna be hot. So, gas shut off. On the wall there, I could shut that off, crack that union on top. I've seen some where unions have been put here. I know people freak out about unions in a machine, but you crack it and you can pull everything right out. Down to 131. Boiler's still hot, so wonder how the firewall is. Obviously this has to be pretty good, or else I'd have fluid leaking out and stains in here. I really don't have moisture stains. So alright, we're locked out. F09. The flame fault. It's the famous flame fault. F09. the F10, in order for it to hit, I'm guessing it has to drop while it's running. So reset. 113, it's cooled down a lot, so put this back here out of the way. These 4 fillies are beat up. Try to turn that off, but it's missing the switch. I might have to go 3/4 to my truck, get a pipe wrench. Yeah, get a pipe wrench. I'm not getting on that right. So let's get in. No easy way to get in here, so. Smaller, bigger. Okay, that's good. Okay. Nice easy job for rigid. I love my rigid tools. Let's open this up. Always be gentle and careful with these. Seen these stripped too many times. So I would never consider popping a drill bit on here for this. Now you also have a gasket on the inside of this. Try not to lose it. Whoever did this left me a lot of room to take all this apart. Now this is supposed to be in like that. I don't think that's causing my failure. I'll clean that up also while I have it out. Here are grounds. Somebody added an extra ground to it. Never hurts. Disconnect the sparker, the motor, power. Clip is a little broken, and then you got the fan speed over here. Everything should be disconnected up top. Now I gotta pull the burner, so I gotta take all these off over here. That's going to be hard to get on. So and also see what the burner tube looks like. The interior heat exchanger. Almost seems like this has not come off in a while. Usually, if they're maintained every year, it would have swung out already. So everything's off. What can I do with the gas to make sure it stays out of my way? Okay, stay there. Right there. It's all the wires, I think, pulling it down. But I gotta pull out straight, make sure I don't damage the gasket and the refractory wall. Uh-oh, the bottom's sticking. It's all coming out. Very carefully. You out of my way. Flame sensor looks pretty good. This wall is breaking apart. Now, if there was water in it or drain issues, this would have discoloration. As for the burner gasket, I do see a gap at the bottom. And this is all cracked up, which is not good. Let's lay this on the side. Let's see what the heat exchanger looks like. But see, this is all breaking apart. Not gonna say that's definitely the problem, but that is not good. So we do not want to see that with that breaking all up. Let's see. This thing definitely doesn't look good. Back walls falling off. So, drain could be backing up. This is supposed to be higher. The gasket's missing and it's falling off. This is dirty and it's full of crumbs, but there's not a drain issue in here. It does not look like, at least not yet. It looks like I should probably clean it since this is already out. And then I gotta order a new front wall and a rear wall of the burner section. And this gasket underneath needs to be replaced also. For my flame sensor, it looks pretty good. Is my burner tube breaking over here? What am I looking at right here? I had a brush, right? It almost looks like nah, that was just some kind of flaking action going on. But while this is out, definitely is going to need all new gaskets on this burner. All around, the igniter is all busted up. So that's all breaking up. You can see this whole gasket's just like deteriorating on this thing. So I'm going to order the rear and the front wall. But since I'm here, I gotta clean all this out. So I brought my vacuum up. Gotta make sure at least it's clean, because don't want this thing. I mean, I gotta clean it anyway when I come back. It's either I do it now or when I come back. Might as well do this, see if it helps a little. Not sure any way to band-aid that to make it last this till I get back. Hoping that when I clean it and put that back in, it'll just be good. So easy. So right, just write anything. Like a couple big crumbs, no actual edits, but really inside, on anything. So I don't think so brush. We'll do much this time. It's doing a little, but that's what our brush. And getting clean stuff up there. I'm gonna break them off. This would be more for maintenance. I'm not allowed to use brass, just plastic on this thing. That's it. Let it brass. Plus would be so much better. Let's get more actually. So go eat back there. That's in that wall. It's not very hot. There's supposed to be a washer on that hold this. It's not deteriorated stuff. So, all cleaned up. Let's get it together. Bracket. Good. 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 How everything's tight. Goes there. Here. There. Gaskets in place. get connected. Everything's connected. Good. Grounds are all on. Just watch the flame come. First try may not happen because of the air in the pipe. There we go. I gotta order these parts, I'll be back. It's almost 9, check that out. Well, to get the parts, I'll be back. Fired right up. So it has gone a lot higher since I cleaned stuff out. The current. I'm out.